Sorry, I just can't hear you over the sound of all of my mana. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and Modern Horizons 3 is now Magic Online legal, so every league from here on out is going to feature Modern Horizons 3 cards in some way, whether that be, playing against it in leagues, or I myself will be playing them. Before I get going here, I would like to thank Plum Wizard, Matthias, and Matthew E. Your dealer's choice donation deck lists went towards making all of that content last week, so thank you very much for supporting me in that capacity. I was in such a rush to get everything edited that I did not actually add that in, but thank you. The support means a lot. Without further ado, let's take a look at today's deck list. So I am going to go ahead and start with Logan's 20-post Eldrazi deck list. I played one match with this, and I absolutely fell in love with Sowing Mycospawn in particular, but let's just start at the posts. So we know historically that Cloudpost has been used to ramp out big, powerful Eldrazi threats. And Modern Horizons 3 gives us two new locuses. Trenchpost, which can technically be a standalone win condition versus something like a blue deck that has already gone through half of its library, and Planar Nexus, which just counts as everything. So it is going to be easier than ever to go and enable your Cloudposts and Glimmerposts to do their thing. We are a 32 land deck list, and we have more utility than normal stapled onto our lands, as we have the ability to turn many things into Cloudposts very easily. And we have the ability to find and destroy lands with cast triggers. Sowing Mycospawn is absolutely awesome. When you cast it, you get to search your library for a land card and put it onto the battlefield. Note that this says onto the battlefield. It does not say onto the battlefield tapped. That could be relevant. And if you kick the spell for an additional 2 mana, you get to exile target land. So on cast, you can just be up 2 lands. You get 1 land, you take 1 land away. And then there is a 3/3 body that is somewhat relevant in the middle as well. Devourer of Destiny serves kind of as our Once Upon a Time and our mid-range threat in this deck, while the traditional Eldrazi Ugin and one new Eldrazi, Ulamog the Defiler, fills out the rest. When we cast this spell, we're going to have our opponent exile the top half of their library rounded up, got ward, sacrifice 2 permanents, and enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters on it equal to the greatest mana value among cards in exile. In Legacy standards, that might be something like 5 or 7. Think like Force of Will, Murktide, Regent. There's other big stuff in the format as well. And it's also going to have Annihilator X, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on it. So this is a little scary. We have a whole playset of Vexing Bauble, which in my initial testing I have evaluated as extremely strong, but definitely beatable. This is going to be our way to get out of the early game, and most of the rest of the stuff that's here is pretty expected. So let's hop into a league. Modern Horizons went live about an hour ago, so people should have had some time to open some packs, buy some things, and hopefully we'll see some cool stuff in the leagues. Folks, you're gonna need some cards in the coming days. Modern Horizons is gonna change Legacy a lot. I think in a good way, based on what I've seen so far. But when you need those cards, check out toamagic.com and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order. You will get free shipping, which is a pretty big deal if you're gonna spend a lot of money on cards. Plus, they probably have like 95% of standard legal stuff in stock, in addition to cool stuff like dual lands. Let's battle. Alright, I think I have kind of a medium opening hand that becomes good if crop rotation resolves. I think this is normally up just a touch higher. It is a Ponder. It is a new Planar Nexus. Let's instantly fire off crop rotation, I think. I don't think I want to give my opponent more time to manipulate their library. And I don't think they're a Wasteland gamer. Pitching a Ponder. And we're going to see some more manipulation. If memory serves, this player plays a lot of show and tell. Maybe Rescaminator here. Let's do the Nexus and throw a Pithing Needle out there then. Generally speaking, the 3 Pithing Needles that are in the main deck exist to name Wasteland and have some incidental damage elsewhere. Okay, fantastic. So I think I'm just going to Planar Nexus and pass. I do have Crop Rotation available off Planar Nexus. I am unsure currently if I even want to cast a Crop Rotation though. Bowmaster at end of turn? That's fine. Glimmer Post into Vesuva represents a very... Look at this land type line. Represents a very large amount of damage. So Planar Nexus costs mana to make green mana, so if I play a Crop Rotation, it is just dazable right now. I don't think I am the most excited about that. So I think I will just go ahead and take this hit. That's a Karakas. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and just Glimmer Post, gain some life, pass the turn. I can consider an end of turn Crop Rotation off Planar Nexus and Glimmer Post to get a Cloudpost and start going big mana, like the 4 in combat. I am going to go ahead and go for it here. So let's attempt to Cloudpost. All right, we do successfully Cloudpost. Fantastic. So this is 3 mana, soon to be 4 mana, 5/6. We will just Ugin next turn. Eye of Ugin, not a bad draw here. So let's Vesuva on Cloudpost. We have 4, 5, 6 mana right now. That's not doing anything currently, and we're good next turn. There's a good chance my Ugin will eat a counterspell, in which case I can maybe start doing some Eye of Ugin things the following turn. But, you know, there's 6 cards in hand and none of these are being deployed. Absolutely has me nervous. Exploration is certainly worth playing here. So let's cast that. I should play Trenchpost first. We will go bam. So this is 5, 10, 2 mana floating here. We'll play this out. Hello? Okay, there we go. So we are playing around Daze and Spell Pierce simultaneously. Is there a hard counter? There is not. So let's exile each thing with mana value 2 or less. This will take out the exploration. It's already done its job of giving me the additional land drop. And we'll pass the turn. I did choose not to mill my opponent. They are a Murktide Regent deck. And I'm hoping to just carry this game with an Ugin anyway. So there's another blue mana. Alright, there's the Murktide Regent that I played around by not milling my opponent. When you cast this spell, exile target permanent that's 1 or more colors, that's fucked up. So there's 5 mana, exile Murktide Regent. Oh my god. So, here's a 6/6. I'll Lightning Bolt you. How much mana is this? This is 5, 6, 7. Cast like a 4-drop. I'll just wait on this activation then. Play around discard. I don't really understand what's in my opponent's hand. Like, it must be something very awkward. Like, multiple Murktide Regents, counter spells that just didn't quite do anything, situational removal spells like Fatal Push that aren't doing stuff. Go for the throat. Yeah, sure. Reanimate. That is occurring. You've got a 6/6. I will take your 6/6 away somehow. So we'll activate this. Alright, and that's enough for my opponent. Do I? Oh, okay. Get bigger. I actually don't have Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger in this list. That almost certainly seems like a mistake. So, I don't think I need Karakas to bounce the Emrakul. I think I'm going to turn that into Bojuka Bog. I don't think I like Crop Rotation, despite the fact that it is quite good conceptually. I think it's very easy for me to just lose the game if my Crop Rotations get countered. I kind of feel like we got lucky this time around. I think if my spells resolve, I just win. But I think I'm going to play a Vexing Bauble. Maybe I need Dismember for Orcish Bowmasters because of the One Ring. I don't know, I just have other ways to take that out of play and things that just kind of ignore it. I think I'm gonna hit the submit button and see how this feels. And maybe end up dismembering. That is a lot of Vexing Bauble. I don't think I'm a fan of this hand. This one's fine. We're gonna keep it. I'll put the Emrakul back in the deck for later. And assuming I can get to some more mana, I have the ability to search out the good lands. No green mana here. I'm going to expose a cave to Wasteland and cast Vexing Bauble. So this is either a counter this or stuff is not getting countered for a while. Maybe ever. Alright, it is in play. So my stuff's safe from counterspells, although this one is already kind of safe from counterspells innately. For sure. Yeah, there go the days. That days is not doing a ton anymore. There's a Wasteland. Opponent does not fire it off immediately, which is a perfectly reasonable decision. My exploration is going to resolve, meaning that I get an additional land drop. I'll expose the Urza's Cave. Only got 2 mana right now, so we'll pass the turn. I can choose to crack Vexing Bauble to draw a card at some point in this game, but I do not expect that I will do that. There is an end of turn Brainstorm. So conceptually, I am hoping to cast Sowing Mycospawn next turn and get myself a Cloudpost, and then copy that Cloudpost with Vesuva. What's going on? Would you like to play a Murktide? Nope. It's just more cantrips. Alright, I don't think my opponent is going to Called Shot go after the Yavimaya. So we will Glimmer Post, gain a life. Opponent could Wasteland right here. They are not. So bam, bam. Could just Bojuka Bog this turn. I guess I can do that anyway. I can't afford the kicker. We're going to cast this Search for a Land card. Yeah, it feels like I just get Bojuka Bog here. And take out my opponent's graveyard so they can't Murktide Regent me. And then I will just eventually do an Urza's Cave to start getting Cloudposts. Alright. So let's Bog you. I'm fine using the Vesuva now. I will just use it to, I think, copy a Glimmer Post. I don't think I am in a rush here. The Urza Cave put it into play tapped. It does put it into play tapped. Okay. You like to hardcast a Grief? That's where we're at. So that does mean that that Wasteland is tapped for a turn, which is cool. Oh, nice. It is a Cloudpost. So let's go ahead and attack, see if my opponent wants to trade. They are at 15. I'm going to go ahead and Cloudpost. I'll sacrifice an Urza's Cave. I will find a second Cloudpost and go ahead and pass the turn. Now, even if I get Wastelanded, I still have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana on my next turn. Once I am Wastelanded, I can go ahead and just find a Eye of Ugin and take over this game. Just more land. Alright, I am losing a Cloudpost, which ultimately I think is fine. And then I'm going to get punched for 3, which again is also fine. Alright, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're not there this turn. We'll probably be there next turn. There's 3. Yeah, we'll just call it a turn here. I am still just winning the race by attacking for 3 versus my opponent attacking for 3. Like, that's still going okay. Now, notably, when my opponent has 5 mana, this does represent hard casting a Force of Will. So they might choose to simply not Wasteland me to hold up Force of Will. If I get Eye of Ugin, this just gets Wastelanded, so I think I am picking up another Cloudpost here. Alright, so they are now knocked off of Force of Will again. There's a Trenchpost. So we're going to continue these attacks. At some point, a Bowmaster may end up ambushing me. So I have, what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. That's not enough. I'll pass the turn. Hardcast Brazen Borrower. Sure. That tilts the clock a little bit in favor of my opponent. They are getting the first attack step with larger creatures. I'm at 11. This is a 2-turn clock versus I have a 3-turn clock. 4, 7, a Murktide region on top of that. All right, got it. So I have the uncounterable Emrakul in my hand. This is the point where I might need to cash this in to just draw a card and get a little deeper in my deck. Because I am incredibly close to dead right now. I found a Vesuva. That'll help. Don't think I am trying to mill out with Trenchpost. That is a cast trigger. So I will have 5 posts. So this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is counterable, though. I'm thinking about whether or not I want to hit Glimmerpost here. I am just taking 10. The Annihilator off Emrakul doesn't guarantee to do it next turn, but it does leave me in a very good position. Annihilator 6 can leave my opponent with 1 thing, and then I just need like another Glimmerpost or something beyond that. I'm going to take the Cloudpost. Alright, so there we go. I imagine this is going to get countered. Yeah, a Murktide region in exile. Okay, so I have a billion counters on that. And that is not getting targeted. Sacrificing 2 permanents is pretty brutal here. 14 power creature. I guess I can now block Grief now that this did actually resolve. Oh no. I have Annihilator 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I attack with everything and just see what my opponent annihilates, but I imagine that this leaves me dead. Oh, this needs to be done in a way that leaves a Grief alive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the Grief has to be alive to block Ulamog. I think I'm going to pull through. Well, my opponent kind of did the math and realized that was that. We won that one on very narrow margins. I am still a little confused about what exactly my opponent had. I thought Vexing Bauble was locking out free spells in hand, but then like this did not eat a Daze or a Force of Will. So, IDK. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and I could say all sorts of great things about them, but I'm just going to point to this number. I have 488 deck lists stored on this site. That should give you a feel for how I feel about this website. And if you were to go to my profile, you could see all the deck lists that I'm messing around with, including my EDH decks, and you can even see some of the deck lists I record with before they hit the channel. Ooh. Okay, I have to decide how I'm going to sequence my lands here, as the Exploration plus Planar Nexus makes it a little weird. I don't think I play Cloudpost on 1. I think I just play some land that I don't mind if it gets wastelanded. And then on turn 2, I play like Cloudpost and Trenchpost at the same time. Sure, maybe some sort of 8-cast shell here. Like this just screams, I'm an Urza Saga deck. So here's Exploration. It's a great counterspell target. Is not countered, which means I am probably going to start doing crimes next turn. Cloudpost already taps for 2. I can make it tap for 4 next turn. Ooh, we're just seeing this cycled immediately. For sure. Pithing Needle is an okay draw. So there is a Trenchpost. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6. I need a 7th mana to convert to green. So I am going to go ahead and Vesuva. We'll copy Cloudpost, and then we'll kick it. Notably, these are cast triggers, folks. These are fucking cast triggers. Exile target land. And I get another land. Wild. So I'll pick up Ayabugan. And I'll exile one of my opponent's lands. This is fucked up. I'm just allowed to do this. So, Force of Vigor versus Artifact deck, reasonable. Vexing Bauble versus all those free spells, perfectly reasonable. Bojuka Bog and OK board in. I think I'll cut Crop Rotation versus Counterspells, just replace those with Vexing Baubles. Honestly, maybe Vexing Bauble should just be main deck. Pithing Needle has some utility versus Emery and some other stuff in the deck. I don't know that I'm more excited about that than I am about Force of Vigor. Wait, hold on. Does Force of Vigor suck? I have 4 Explorations in my deck that can pitch cast it. Wait, Force of Vigor sucks. Fuck. Oh, that's weird. Green seems tough unless I have that one Yavimaya. Okay. Let's Bojuka Bog. I've got Caracas. Let's maybe Glacial Chasm, and I will play one Force of Vigor. We're gonna have to re-examine the artifact hate here. It is certainly not Force of Vigor anymore. Fuck. Okay. Live and learn. So this hand has Caracas for an Emery and has Devourer of Destiny to select for some opening draws. Finding a Cloudpost is great. Finding green mana is great. I think I'm gonna mulligan though. I don't know. I could just find Vexing Bauble off this. And then this hand's insane. All right. So opening hand actions. Wait. At the beginning of your first upkeep. Got it. I see. When I did this before, I was on the play, so that just kind of naturally happened. All right. Oh, hey, it's fucking Vexing Bauble. I will put Vexing Bauble on top of my library. So we will start on a Glimmer Post and play the Bauble. This will potentially shut off future counterspells as well as all of the artifact mana. Now, we could still just lose to Ancient Tomb Urza Saga. Like, that is still very much a thing that can happen. That is not an Ancient Tomb, though. That's rough. Neither one of those Urza Saga triggers is going to produce relevant things. Do I want an Urza Saga? It's very funny. It gives me something to do with my mana. I currently don't have things to do with my mana. It's just getting me a Bauble, which I guess is a card to draw. Okay. Urza Saga. This was not the plan. My opponent could, like, Pithing Needle, my Vexing Bauble, Pithing Needle, and Urza Saga, Pithing Needle, and Eye of Ugin. Oh god, they didn't even float mana. Yeah? Okay, there's a new Urza Saga. It's hard to tell how much work Vexing Bauble is doing right now. I imagine the answer is some. So now my opponent can make a land drop and start making construct tokens. But those construct tokens do not have haste. So these are just going to be chump blockers for me. I drew another Vexing Bauble, which I guess I'm going to cast to grow the size of my constructs. We will Vexing Bauble again. I will Glimmer Post again. Am I the beatdown? I'm at 26. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. So I can make this and we could trade. Then theirs will be bigger. If I draw colored mana, I start blowing up their lands. I think I just have tried to prolong this game. I think I'm going to hold these back and potentially double block Urza's Saga construct tokens, even though I do just have 5/5s. Like, I can attack for 5, and they can attack for roughly double that. I think we're chilling. Ooh! Dress down from your own Urza's Saga deck. Yeah, you got it. If nothing else, I will just Urza's Cave or a Cloudpost, and then I can start... Oh, shit. Okay. That was unexpected. Okay, I might die to that. That, explains the dress down. Am I losing to not having green mana to activate that? This is exactly 13. This is not colored, so I can't exile it with this. Did I board in Glacial Chasm? I did. Glacial Chasm costing me 2 lands, 1 for this tutor. Is a little rough. Also doesn't produce mana. Alright, I think I'm going to do this like this rather than with Urza's Cave. So let's cast this. On cast, I get to search for a land. If I chump block, I can stay alive and then have a bigger turn next turn. But I think I will just Glacial Chasm. I will sack a Glimmer Post. And this should hopefully buy me enough time to do something. Having to use the Boseiju to cast this is a little awkward. Okay, well, good thing I didn't try to chump block. Alright, I will pay the life. There is an Urza's Cave. We'll go ahead and just cast this. We'll use that to pick up a Cloudpost. And more mana probably just breaks this game open for me. Emery is fine. I have Caracas for that. Now I lose 4. The One Ring is lose life, not damage, notably. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I could go ahead and cast this Nuke Emery, draw 1 card with a bauble. In that case, why don't I just draw 1 card right now? A Vesuva. So we will Vesuva a Cloudpost. 7 mana. Exile that. Go ahead and call it a turn here. And I can go ahead and pay 1 more time with Glacial Chasm if I want. Otherwise, I can still just, like, sack this and 1 ring. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not necessarily safe in combat yet. Let's draw 1 card and then make this decision. Is another Devourer of Destiny. Not the best card in the world right now. I think I will go ahead and pay the life. Not worried about Bowmasters here. Force of Vigor, not castable. Or is it? Or is it? Get Yavimaya. Green. Green. I guess Force of Negation is a thing that my opponent could have. So this is 4 mana. I get to do 2 things here if I do things on my own main phase, but playing the One Ring isn't exactly the greatest. I think I'm just going to play Urza's Cave and pass. And then I'll cast Force of Vigor, end of turn. That Ancient Tomb is very inconvenient. That means Force of Will is valid. Alright. So green. No, I do not want to tap Cloudpost for green very specifically. Alright, so there's green and green. We'll target Dreadnought and Boots, pay the extra, and then pay the ward. Yes, the Ancient Tomb is inconvenient. I don't have enough mana to immediately crack Urza's Cave now, so I'll go ahead and go to my own turn. I'll lose Glacial Chasm. Multiple One Rings. Cool. How much are these making? So this is 4, 8... I guess I could just play the One Rings to draw 1 card. Putting the extra Devourer of Destiny on board doesn't do a ton. So gain protection from everything. Draw 1 card. It's an Ugin. That's very cool, but let's not get distracted. Then I will just play a new copy of the One Ring. Keep this one. Drop this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's just Urza's Cave immediately. Pick up a Glimmer Post, gain a bunch of life. 1, 2, 3, 4. Gain 5 life, put me to 6. Let's gain a little life here. And call it a turn. Torpor Orb is fine. My stuff's all on cast. Oh, that's for you. That's not for me. Understood. So, Ugin... not doing stuff. Devourer, not doing stuff. Let's try to draw something bigger. I'd love to just draw an Emrakul or something. That is going to be a very large creature. I cast it off of just 2 lands. My opponent can bounce it. I'll need to do some other stuff, but that's very good. So there is a Cloudpost. So let's Vesuva gain some additional life. We're now at 11, which means I am probably surviving a respectably sized combat step. 19 cards enter the exile zone, including a 7 CMC Null Drifter. Absolutely. Good for you, Southpaw. I have a 22/22 creature. And I'm not done. 6, 7. Probably just 7. I don't think I cast Ugin. Literal no targets on the battlefield for its trigger. And I'll pass the turn. So I can put a couple of Devourers in front of Phyrexian Dreadnoughts. Ooh, no Spellbomb usage at end of turn. Wait, wait, hold on. What had 15 CMC? Do I have a... Oh my god, from the beginning of the game, I have an Emrakul in exile. What a synergy. Okay, so we are going to go ahead, and if a 6-power creature gets So this is awkward. So because how trample works, my opponent can bounce this and get through for 12. This is getting through for 1. I just kind of need to soak up damage. This is taking 7 and then having some 1 ring redraws. That seems fine. Assuming that my opponent is just dead if this does not leave play. Yeah, so now the Ward 2 goes off. All right, they are down some lands. That gets bounced to my hand. I trade with this one and take a bit of damage. So I need to answer 1 Phyrexian Dreadnought before I die to my own copy of the One Ring, which is happening pretty quickly here. In fact, it is happening next turn. So I can Urza's Cave for a Glimmer Post. So like tap 3, Urza's Cave for Glimmer Post. Glimmer Post gains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not bad. Ulamog easily blocks this. The Spellbomb's been used. Well, let's draw some more cards to see if I just naturally draw a Glimmer Post. Naturally drew an Exploration. So that's perfectly fine. So first land for turn. Second land for turn. Sacrifice Urza's Cave. Stifle. Fuck. Do I have crop rotations? Do not have crop rotations. So I think while it is still uncounterable, I'm going to go ahead and cast this. Now I will crack Vexing Bauble to draw a card. It is a Vesuva. Yeah, fuck. If I don't play the Planar Nexus before that happens, I can Vesuva to copy a Glimmer Post. I think I am dead. So now my opponent can play a bunch of artifact mana that has been stranded in their hand. For sure. I can draw some cards with the One Ring in response to this trigger. Dead. I also used an exceptional amount of clock thinking through the weird situations here. I've got to speed up for this game. I don't think I'm in any danger or anything, but, you know. I think too much of my opponent's stuff is colorless for Ugin to be good. I'm going to put a crop rotation back in. I think, in fact, like, given Vexing Bauble, I think I'm going to get these all back in. I'm unsure how good Force of Vigor actually is, despite the fact that this is an artifact matchup. I think it is very hard to cast. Like, I had to really work for it. I'm going to trim 1 Devourer. Glacial Chasm in hand is not the best. I'm kind of short on mana here. I get to put a bunch of stuff in exile and select very aggressively for a Cloudpost. I think this is fine. I'm not sure if I want to do both of these. Okay, so Cloudpost goes back on top. Yeah, and I think I will take... Oh, I guess we're looking at the same Cloudpost, right? Yeah. Cloudpost goes back on top. But I accomplished putting an Emrakul into exile, which is very much a thing that I wanted to do. I should have played Trenchpost there. Because now my, my other Ulamog is now Giant Annihilator Buddy. You just have... Okay, Emery's fine. So I will Cloudpost, and next turn I have 2, 3, 4 mana for Mycospawn, get rid of Ancient Tomb, or get rid of an Urza Saga if one comes down. What's that targeting? Lotus Petal. A Dress Down. Just Dress Down into immediate Dreadnought. Well, that's real good. I have a Glacial Chasm to help with that. That's, again, a little awkward that it is not just immediately in my deck. Or sorry, this searches for a land the first time. I think I'm just taking some damage here. I think I just need more mana to accomplish what I want to accomplish this game. Let's go ahead and just take the second Cloudpost. And the next turn I have 3, 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 mana. If I can play Planar Nexus for some reason, I can go bigger than that. But I am taking 12 here. I can actually take 9 instead. This block is valid later, though, so that's fine. My opponent... Oh, I see they need to move into their next main phase. Yeah. Spellbomb's fine. Haywire Might's fine. Exploration is very actively good. This is counterable. I will play a Planar Nexus as land 1. I will play... I guess I could attack. Yeah, I'm going to attack and take those 3 points of damage before I play Glacial Chasm. Yeah. There's 11. I'm going to play Glacial Chasm, float a green. I'll sacrifice the Yavimaya. I'll cast a Devourer. I'll use that to take out Emery. And then pass the turn. It is a Stifle. Sure. I'll cast another one next turn. My opponent could use their Haywire Might to take out my Exploration, if that's a thing that they would like to do. That's a draw card, sure. My opponent can recur that Spell Bomb as slow card draw. Urza Saga is great for my opponent here. I still have my Exploration. Fantastic. Yes. There is a Vexing Bauble. Let's go ahead and cast that. Cast this, attempt to take out Emery again. A new Stifle? It is a new Stifle. That's fine. I'm not going to Trench Post my opponent while they still have Emery. I might just go ahead and draw with this, though. A Vesuva. So I'm going to have Vesuva target Glimmer Post. Alright, opponent's drawing cards. Alright, recurring Spell Bomb. Take my damage for this. It's a second Trench Post. Okay. At the point where I've got 2 of those, maybe I need to start activating them despite the awkwardness. We are going to yield until end of turn, and at end of turn, I'll double activate Trench Post. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 12. Okay, got it. Boots are fine. What is Emery doing? All right, Emery's just recurring Lotus Petal. That's fine. So end of turn. Send at you. And then do it again. And I am giving Emery a lot more fuel. I don't think Emery is the problem here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's really 7, 14. So I mill my opponent this turn. I mill my opponent on the next turn. And they die. That sounds nice. Make another Trench Post. Note that I do not really have time to look at the graveyard here and see what all I milled and plan every little thing out. Yeah, you can draw your cards. We are gonna yield until here. And we've already seen 2 Stifles. And I think I have 1 more activation than what I need. Yeah, that is the concession. I just milled someone out in Legacy. Okay, so we have Cloudpost, copy Cloudpost, into Glimmerpost, Planar Nexus, Bob's Your Uncle. We also get to select for another threat off the top of our library, or potentially select for a Pithing Needle. And I am on curve to cast Devourer of Destiny on turn 3. I'm beginning to think that these Eldrazi cards are good. Our opponent is aggressively mulliganing, though. We are definitely built to beat fair decks that are kind of taking their time. Opponent is just Dark Ritual, Lotus Petal, Balustrade Spy. We fucking die to that. Devourer of Destiny! I just take another? Guess we're just taking another. Cloudpost passed. Ooh, maybe some sort of affinity deck? So we will Vesuva, copy our Cloudpost. Next turn I have 7 mana. My opponent plays a colored spell. I am just going to get to nuke it for free. Sure. Yeah, this is the sort of deck that we are not hoping to play. Yep. So it is for Necro Dominance. The good news here is that I just get to nuke that with Devourer of Destiny. 19. So there's a Spirit Guide. So this will be a Born Upon the Wind kill. Manamorphose. Okay, so that'll get the blue. Dark Ritual. Dark Ritual. Another Spirit Guide just happened. Uh-huh. Yes. Oh, I see. The noise was the Born Upon the Wind being cast. And there's Tendrils. Yep. No, that'll do. That's a shame. Vexing Bauble, fine. Bojuka Bog, actively good. Force of Vigor, despite the awkwardness, probably just needs to happen. I imagine Leyline of the Void might need to happen as well. Pithing Needle probably has no real text. That can probably go. Can probably vastly go down on actual threats. Ugin is 8 mana to potentially get rid of a Necrodominance or send 3 mana or 3 damage at face. I think I'm just going to rely on the other creatures to win. We can board a Karakas out for sure. If we are bogging, this gives us baubles. One ring buys time. This just seems like it's going to be a very bad matchup. Exiling a good portion of my opponent's library is actually quite scary. Maybe I don't Leyline. I don't know that I want to go down any further on threats, and I don't know that I want to reduce tutors. So I have crop rotation for Bojuka Bog with this hand, but I think I am going to mulligan. I very much want a Vexing Bauble hand. This is not the fastest hand in the world, but Vexing Bauble is my best piece of interaction. I will get rid of a Mycospawn, and we'll bobble. Yeah. This stops the Lotus Petals, but there's a bunch of like Spirit Guides and that style of mana in the deck. Crop rotation is absolutely not bad. That represents Bojuka Bog. If my opponent attempts a Beseech the Mirror combo turn, otherwise it represents a Cloudpost so that I can cast the One Ring. Second artifact land. Okay, cool. So crop rotation, junk that, pick up Cloudpost. We're going to keep playing Glimmer Posts, I think. I'll just do one this turn and one next turn, just kind of slowly keep increasing my life total here. This means that I get to make it to my next turn. I could draw a Vexing Bauble. I did not. Another One Ring is perfectly fine, though. Although I guess my opponent could just, like, win in my upkeep instead. No, the Necrodominance discard gets in the way of that. Nature's Claim. Would I rather have 4 life or another card? I think I would rather have 4 life. I think I've got cards covered. All right. So lose 1, draw a card, draw a couple more. So this is currently 3, 4, 5, but it'll be 4, 5, 6, 7, which means I can do 6. I could just Sowing Mycospawn and take out my opponent's Vault of Whispers. I think that is unnecessary if I can just keep playing copies of the One Ring, though. I think I will Glimmer Post, gain 4, go up to 31, cast the One Ring, keep this one. I'll immediately draw a card with it. It is an Exploration. I'm punished for playing out the Glimmer Post to attempt to get an extra mana, but I don't think it is going to matter. All right, opponent is making some moves. I do have protection from everything. All right, Chrome Mox imprinting red mana. That is presumably just to not discard. I lose 1. That's not really the best draw here. My opponent does not have colored permanents. Trenchpost is a thing. So let's Planar Nexus, make green, play Exploration. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. I have not played a land yet. So in theory, I want 6, 10 mana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I am already there. So Cloud, I did play a land? Turn 5. I guess land does not. Oh, Planar Nexus to cast Exploration. Got it. Okay. Oh, whatever. It's fine. So do the One Ring. Keep this one. Draw a card immediately. See if we hit another Vexing Bauble. We hit a Force of Vigor, which is almost a good card. We'll just go ahead and pass the turn here. So next turn, I would like to draw an actual green card to hardcast. Or sorry, I can either draw a green source or an actual green card. I don't know that I actually just go and attack my opponent's artifact mana. There is a Cabal Ritual. There is a Beseech the Mirror. Not casting the card. Sure. Boseiju is maybe okay. Let's draw. There's an Ulamog the Defiler. So I will play Boseiju as a land. I will play Glimmerpost as a land. Gain 1 life. I'm not going to count my mana here. I am just going to take game actions. I'm going to bam, bam. I think I will just take these out. And then cast this. Doesn't look like we hit the tendrils. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I used both green to take out 2 mana sources, so that's my turn. I took my opponent off of black mana, at least visible black mana. We'll see if it's enough. It's possible holding for Necro Dominance is better, but I imagine there's some kind of protection over there. I didn't exile any protection. Black-blue, there's Dark Ritual. Cabal Ritual. Born Upon a Wind. Necro. My opponent can draw 19. They do. And then I imagine I'm going to die. Yeah, the thing about, like, keeping Force of Vigor to play around Necro Dominance is that if my opponent just, like, does a Beseech line, I just die. They do also have to kill me from 36 life, just saying. There's Summoner's Pact. Another. Wild Cantor. Hardcast Spirit Guide. A Foundation Breaker. 3 mana showing at this point. There's the 4th. Undo 4th. And my opponent spent a decent amount of energy telling me how to play my deck, and then lost. So, good job, Velgrim. Good job. So I've not seen the Gaia's Will yet. It's presumably still in there. I don't have any extra green cards I can board up. I don't know that I can go down on any threats from here. And we are like in the brew stage right now, where I don't know what decks look like. A Force of Vigor with a green card to pitch is immediately a good hand, even if the rest of it is quite awkward. So let's Devour. Remember, that will trigger on my own upkeep, so we don't get to look immediately. All right. Spirit Guide. Cabal Ritual. 4th mana. An immediate Beseech. Or Necro. Opponent has 0 cards. Force of Vigor. Targeting Lotus Petal and Necro Dominance. Yeah. GG's. Okay, I think Discoverer of Destiny makes this one keepable. Like, I assume if we do this and then hit like a Cloudpost or something that I can repeatedly copy with Vesuva, we are probably just in business. We have some big scary spells to cast. I'm probably going to Exploration Eye of Ugin on turn 1. I don't think I want to Vesuva a Forest or anything. And if I find a Cloudpost, I probably don't want to Cloudpost until I can immediately Vesuva afterwards. For Wasteland reasons. It's just Delver. So, trigger. Glimmerpost is okay. I kind of want to take the Pithing Needle, though. So I believe that I am just casting Pithing Needle this turn. I don't gain a lot from immediately playing the Exploration. Alright, it is a Force of Will. I'll take 1. Not that big of a deal. Opponent does not have more land. That's great for me. No matter what I do, this Exploration is still dazeable. So I'm just going to fire it off. Alright, there is the daze. So this is awkward. The Vesuvas don't really have a great target right now. And the Eye of Ugin is legendary, so I can't copy that. I think I will just Vesuva a forest. It is not what I want to be doing, but I think it is what's happening. So 2 card types in graveyard for DRC purposes. And I'm just taking a little bit of damage here. We don't want to see another threat. Well, we are we are sure playing this game on basic forests. Okay. I can cast a 1-ring next turn as a way to get protection from everything. My opponent's creatures are not attacking me for 6 this turn, which is a pretty big deal. Opponent junks Murktide. Sacking Bauble means that this will be 3 power. I am going to get hit for 4. I am at 11. Opponent gets their redraw. I need more mana. I mean, I'll take the cards. I need them. Okay. So I am on track to Devourer of Destiny. Delver's not flipping. Again, great. But they missed a Delver attack. We take those. I'm at 10. So I play Glimmerpost, I gain a life. I am at 11. I don't have either Bojuka Bog or Glacial Chasm in game 1, which are the 2 lands that I would like right now. So in theory, 3, 6, 9, 10 damage. Glimmerpost saves me for a turn, lets me cast Devourer of Destiny. I'm not sure that that's enough on its own. I think I'm going to try to hit, like, Exploration or another 1-ring or something. Okay. That's a little more interesting. So I'm going to Glimmerpost, trigger on the stack, cast a Crop Rotation. I pick up another Cloudpost. I gain 2 life. I am at 12, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. I am still alive. But I did not get another playable here. So, how you doing, Delver? Delver flips to Brainstorm. I take 9. I'm at 3. I'm going to go to 1 from this trigger. You have a bolt. No immediate bolt. The 1-ring is absolutely great. So let's do this, draw some cards. Alright, there's the bolt. I guess I could have played Urza's Cave to gain 3 life in response, stay at 1. If I do that, I still have exactly enough for a 1-ring. I still lose to other stuff, but I could have played it differently. I was trying to just hit Glimmerpost. My rationale was I was F6'd on their turn. If they have Bolt, it just goes at my face, and I die no matter what. But they did not pick up on that. Okay, I don't like Crop Rotation here, I don't think. I am going to board in Vexing Baubles in that spot. I want these lands in. I'll board out the Caracas for one of those. I might treat the other as a spell. Can probably shave an Emrakul safely. And then it's like, do I want Dismember? I think Dismember's okay. It's just like awkward to pay life for Dismember when I want to turtle up behind Glacial Chasm and like do 1-ring stuff. I think I'm not going to board Dismember or Leyline. So this has some selection. I don't get whatever card I look at until my next turn. I don't think this hand's actually very good. It's not the best, but it's fine. I'm going to throw Urza's Cave back into the deck and just stay maxed out on posts. So I don't get to draw this card this turn, but I get to select. I would love Vexing Bauble. I like Devourer of Destiny a lot more on the draw when I get to immediately play the card and select for my first turn. Got land into creature, which is exactly what my opponent wants to do. So I think I don't Glimmerpost this turn. I think I start doing that on future turns. The later I play a Glimmerpost, the more life that it is likely to give me. Oh, apologies. I forgot to turn my good lighting on. I'll get it before the next game. This has been a stop and go league for me. Alright, JK, I had time to do the lighting now. It is a Delver. You got it. So hopefully this time I can use the 1-ring to bridge to my more expensive stuff. That's not bad. I don't quite have mana for it immediately. I need 5 mana to do that. The good news is that it will be uncounterable once it actually happens. What are you hoping to remove with Unholy Heat? This guy? I guess with Delirium it does hit this. Never mind, I take it back. I was just so focused on the things that I actually intend on winning the game with. Alright, there's land drop. Looks like I'm only getting hit for 4, which is fine. Like, I undo that by playing my land drop. The Glimmer Posts have definitely gotten stronger. Glacial Chasm is fine. I don't need that yet. So I'm going to cast the One Ring. Now, my opponent's free counterspells are off. However, my opponent could 2-mana daze this. They do not. I have no cards that I would play. I've made my land drop. I don't have 0 drops, so I'll just draw later. So I gain 4 life from my land, and then I start doing the whole One Ring thing. Are you going to seek the beast? You are. Opponent likes their card. It's a Murktide. At this point, I can't think of a reason not to just immediately draw. Aha, nice. So that can get me to Sowing Mycospawn next turn. And I can start thinking about Glacial Chasm. Sure. 5 cards in graveyard for Murktide Regent purposes. Yeah. So I need to get to Devourer of Destiny mana to start taking out these creatures. A new One Ring is fantastic. Let's draw some cards. 5, 8, 9, 10, 11-ish. Probably not taking 21 next turn. It's a really good fog turn, though. So I can gain 5 and put a Cloudpost into play. Or I could put a Cloudpost into play and play the One Ring. I think I'm going to gain 5 and get a Cloudpost. Take some amount of damage. Can't quite cast with Kicker here. We will... Yeah, I'm still going to grab Cloudpost, even though more Glimmer Posts is perfectly fine. Every one of my lands is a locus. 3, 6... Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to tap this Cloudpost for 7 next turn. I have 12 mana. Just Devour plus the One Ring. And I'll absolutely just use Sowing Mycospawn as a gain 3-ish life spell. Don't need these. Oh, cool. The Mycospawn managed to fog 3 damage on its own. Excellent. All right, lose 2. Beautiful. Let's start by drawing some cards. Fantastic. So I will tapped Cloudpost. Just 7 mana off 1 land. This is a cast trigger. I will cast and get rid of Murktide Regent. Alright, so my opponent could hardcast a Force of Will here to stop this from hitting play. They don't. Now I will cast a One Ring, which could again be countered. Alright, that is a Force of Negation, which could not counter this one. Not interested in attacking here. I am very much not the beatdown. So this is the game where that Unholy Heat was kicking around, right? Yeah. So eventually this is something that can kill my 6/6. No other end of turn plays. It's just the Delver coming in. That is fantastic. 13. Oh my god, no! 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Okay. You and your cheater card. Alright. No trophy for me. Okay, so I can Devourer of Destiny here. I have an Exploration. I don't have any immediate big mana. This probably just plays Sowing Mycospawn on turn 2, though. That's probably fine. I will go ahead and reveal both of these. It helps for my Ulamog. Of those, I will put the Forest back on top. And then probably hope not to keep the Forest. Yeah, a Cloudpost is much better. So, bam. Exploration. We're going to slam Urza's Cave and pass the turn. We would love for our opponent to wasteland cards that don't have the word locus on it. Like the Urza's Cave is a tutor, and that's perfectly fine. But to get to my big scary things, I need big mana. And that requires locuses. Oh, fuck. I might lose this game for not having an untapped land. Fuck. That's so frustrating. Yeah, I can't mill my opponent, and I also can't search for a land that could do something. Oh, it looks like it is a Doomsday build with Necro Dominance. It looks like there's just a couple of those in a fair way. I'm going to play Cloudpost. I am not going to play Trenchpost. I can't possibly draw 2 lands for next turn anyway. So I think I just pass the turn here and don't put this thought into their head that this is something that they might need to play around. If I were my opponent, I would be building a pile that just wins this turn. All right, there's Brainstorm. So this feels like Petal Petal Oracle. Oh my god. Okay, okay. You aren't going to believe this, but I win. Trenchpost. Got him. Oh, man. Oh my god. Greatest thing ever to happen in the history of things. Yeah, opponent says that's what I get for too slow a pile. Yeah, I imagined that I was fully dead. Vexing Baubles will come in. They're better than Pithing Needles. Ugin is not really the best here. It's just kind of slow as far as damage is concerned. Force of Vigor can do some things versus Necro Dominance. I might actually keep Caracas for potential Sholdred out of the sideboard. Sholdred seems cute with Necro Dominance, right? I can probably trim Emrakul's. I want to trim one other card for the last Force of Vigor. I want to keep all of these Ulamogs. Can I get away without Emrakul? Sometimes I just need to win right now. Emrakul does that. I don't want to go down a green card. Go down 1 Cave? I don't know. Cave turns into Woozy What's It? Trenchpost, which is definitely relevant. I'm going to go down 1 Exploration. So I have a Vexing Bauble. It's an okay card. I don't know that this hand is actually keepable, though. Vexing Bauble does not really stop much of what my opponent is doing. It just slows them down. And this doesn't really have a good other play until turn 4. I'm going to mull this one. Turn 1 Cloudpost. Turn 2 Planar Nexus into Exploration into Trenchpost. This is potentially fine. Emrakul goes back in deck. Ooh, opponent is going to 5 here. And has kept on 5. Don't do stuff. Just pass the turn. Alright, blue mana is a lot less scary than black mana. Devourer of Destiny. Not what I am looking for in the immediate future. Although 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it'll just be castable on turn 3. Yeah. I think my Trenchpost is going to be 1 mana too slow. This was not true green mana to just cast Exploration on 1 so that I could Trenchpost turn 2. I have Trenchpost turn 3. This is where drawing a Vexing Bauble would be quite good. Our Leyline of Sanctities over there. Force of Vigor. Does that do anything? I'm always playing this land. Force of Vigor doesn't really make sense on Lotus Petal. Opponent won't be doing Necrodominance stuff right now. I only have 3 mana. If I Cloudpost, this is 2 mana. I can play Exploration and then go right back up to 2 mana. That doesn't do anything. So I think I am going to hope for the best here. I'm not going to show Trenchpost yet, because I can't immediately activate it. So I will Eye of Ugin and pass. I fully expect that I am dead now. Alright, there's Brainstorm. Yeah, so my opponent cycles, cracks LED in response. Force of Vigor would not have done anything for that. Consider. And that's the Oracle. I needed just literal 1 more mana. If I had an untapped green source for turn 1, I win this game. So do I want an extra Exploration over, say, 1 Sowing Mycospawn? This is just a tutor for one of my win conditions, though. I did not see a Sholdred. So let's just make that little adjustment. This hand does not do anything. Oh, fuck. This hand also doesn't do anything. I have no colored mana here. I have no big mana here. I have no interaction of any kind. Yikes. This is also pretty terrible. There's a 5-card hand. It's 3 lands, a slow tutor, and a 1 ring that I can't cast. My opponent kept 7. I've got to do better than that. Wow. Absolute garbage. I do have better 3-card hands than this. Okay, well, I will absolutely just keep 3 lands here and hope for the best. That was some pretty terrible variants. Oh, I see. So the ley lines are for the trench posts, because that does target. I can remove these ley lines, though. Well, that finds Doomsday. I don't think I am going to have the speed to Devourer of Destiny one of these things before my opponent can go off via Doomsday. Yeah, what? So we looked at the 7, the 6, the 5, the 4, and the 3 without ever seeing a Vexing Bauble. I wanted that speed bump. Yeah. Alright, opponent's at 10. They have an Underground Sea of some kind in their pile. I will Planar Nexus and pass. And presumably just die. There's a Ponder. Great Wraith. Great Wraith. Yeah, and then it's just Lotus Petal into Oracle. Well, damn. We had some real game here, but was not in the cards. Okay, I loved this deck. This deck was very fun to play. I am unsure about some things. I am unsure if crop rotation is necessary given how good Urza's Cave is as a mid-game tutor. You do definitely need the Cloudpost mana, so like maybe you can't get away with this, but I was pretty happy boarding this out in most rounds. Maybe you can promote Vexing Bauble to the main deck. You know, at worst, it is a cycle for 2 mana, and you tend to have the extra mana in the early turns. I love these on-cast triggers from these creatures. I don't think you need 3 Emrakuls. I would go down to 1 of those. I would turn 1 of those maybe into an Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, just to be able to nuke 2 things at the same time. I don't think I would play Ugin again. So this can give you maybe 1 more Pithing Needle in the main deck, and then 2 other sort of mid-game spells that you can cast on maybe like 1 or 2 mana, or maybe like you turn some of these into some Vexing Baubles. But this strategy felt very real. It feels very good versus slower blue decks. I do not like Force of Vigor, given our very, very low true green count. That was an obvious deck building error. Maybe you can fit Glacial Chasm or Bog into the main deck as well, but I give this deck a massive thumbs up, and I would be excited to play it again immediately. I've got a podcast starting in a couple of minutes, so folks, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And if you need cards, you know where to go. Promo code ThrabenU to save a bit on your order. See ya!